Hello, friends, and welcome back to the podcast. This is the JRPG Report, episode 157. My name is James Fisher. As always, thank you for listening each and every week to your weekly JRPG news podcast. We got a probably a bit on the shorter side podcast this week. There wasn't really anything too major, but I got a lot of fun stuff to talk about. The first thing I want to get to, and we discussed it a little bit a few weeks ago, and so we got some more information about Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, as well as a few tidbits on Ever Crisis and First Soldier as well. This was a new interview that was with Famitsu magazine, and it was with Tetsuya Nomura, the co-director of Remake Intergrade, and the creative director for First Soldier and Ever Crisis. There was some new tidbits. These are some of the highlights from that interview. First, let's talk about Remake Intergrade by leaps and bounds, the most exciting of the three titles. Although I think Ever Crisis is exciting in its own aspect. We'll talk about that in a second. So first to Remake Intergrade, and if it gets a little loud in the background, it is raining here, and I just saw a flash of lightning even, so there may be some thunder rolling in here. Of course, it is winter, technically here, but might as well be spring, and so yeah, here comes the rain and the thunder. Ooh, there it is. That was... Hopefully we don't get cut off right here in the middle of it. Okay, seriously though. As mentioned in his introduction, Sonon, I guess that's how you say the dude's name, the other person along with Yuffie, Sonon, comes from Wutai and is working with Avalanche, and which is why his character design has an oriental appearance with military-style clothing and armored motif. I also came up with an idea to have him fight with a style of martial arts using a quarterstaff to balance with Yuffie's style, and so I made his outfit look like it was easy for him to move around in. Originally, he was designed with finer features for a softer, quote-unquote, pretty boy look, but I thought that him being paired with Yuffie could add a new dynamic that differed from what you got with Cloud or Vincent, so I changed him to move to the more masculine character you see now. Well, inadvertently, he just admitted that Vincent's going to be in this game. I guess there was always, we knew that he would be in there, but technically as an optional character, it wasn't 100% known. So hey, there you go. The player only controls Yuffie though, so the system is set up to create an awareness of your ally fighting alongside you as you maneuver around the battlefield. So in essence, this is a single player DLC experience. That's also news, and maybe a bit disappointing. With that quarterstaff, he looked like he could be a lot of fun to control. Well, too bad for that. So he says, as you move around the battlefield, watching for combination opportunities with Sonon. You can also choose between two different control modes, one where Sonon acts independently and one where he follows Yuffie's commands to act in unison with what she is doing. The little icon represents that you can press L2 to switch between the two combat modes. He says there are new materia and summons just for the episode featuring Yuffie. That's pretty cool, and maybe a preview of some of the materia and summons that you can get as you make your way towards Wutai. Hopefully, in I guess we're calling this episode 2 or part 2. I don't know. They haven't really decided. I guess part 2. Lastly, he says, due to the nature of the upgrade system, it resulted in us having to label the new Yuffie sections as downloadable content. However, the original intent was to create a PS5 version of Final Fantasy VII Remake and not to produce downloadable content. Accordingly, we do not have any plans for DLC. Besides this, I guess, don't have any plans for DLC at this time. Sorting out the development environment for PS5 for Remake Intergrade meant that moving on to developing the sequel was much smoother. We are now prioritizing the roadmap for completing the next game, so if we do not think about more DLC, then it will probably come after that is finished. So, reading between the lines, This wasn't necessarily planned as DLC. It just kind of came about due to the nature of it. They just wanted to include it with the game and maybe weren't able to. I guess it depends on if it's um, if it's going to be paid DLC or not. So if you just want to include it as a part of the game and it's just a separate download, well, I think you're going to get more people on board with that idea. It, when I was reading on this, it said that there were no future plans for DLC. That I don't know if that's necessarily what that says. I just think it means for part one. I think they would be completely open to it down the road in other shapes. They say they're just completing the roadmap for part two. Hopefully they're further along. Maybe they're just deciding where the road ends at, right? How far do they want to go on this journey for part two before they wrap it up and move on to part three? And hopefully that is it. So, yeah, so we learned some things in there, some good and some bad. And what do you guys think? I'm certainly excited to play this game on PS5. I'm hoping to have a PS5 perhaps by the time this thing comes out in the summer. Interesting side note, I was actually looking into it the other day. We got the stimulus check, and the wife actually gave me the okay to get one if I wanted to. I don't want to spend my money necessarily on that, but at the same time, I do want the system, so I'm kind of a little bit torn. But so I just started looking around, and yeah, you can't find it, and I'm not going to pay a scalper for it, so I'll just wait. And at some point in time, you're going to be able to walk into a store and buy a PlayStation 5 if you want to. Let's hope that day is sooner rather than later. Briefly, I'll just say a little bit about First Soldier. I kind of think the consensus is that we don't really love the idea of this game. He just said that I think that many of the core audience for the genre will not know about Final Fantasy VII, or maybe have never even played one at all. And he does want people to discover an interest in the world from this game. It is obviously targeted for the Fortnite type of crowd, I don't want to say casual player by any stretch, but definitely a different genre of game player, and trying to maybe say, hey, we have this interesting world, and maybe that'll get them into the games. I'm fine with that idea. Obviously, it's not made for us, and that's okay if it brings in new players to our beloved JRPG genre. So let's just skip over the rest of that. It's fine if you want to play it, cool. It's not really a JRPG by any stretch. So Ever Crisis, we've been hearing a little bit more about that, and I've got some information to share with you. That you're able to play the chapters released for free. Let's just, unless I read otherwise, I think that means the base game is going to cost you a little bit of money, and then the chapters after that will be released for free. Let's just see. The montage element is basically loot boxes containing random weapons. Some of the special weapons also come in a set that includes new costumes that were not in the original games. That's cool. Adding in a new way to enjoy the story that you won't seen before. He said, we are trying to fit the story of the original FF7 into 10 chapters, but to be a bit more specific, the team will escape Midgar in Chapter 3. I think that should give you an idea of how much the other titles will cover as well. Oh, okay. Yeah, it is. So, by that stretch, that would indicate if Midgar is at the end, or it says in Chapter 3, I would assume it's probably at the end of it. That would mean, 4, 5, 6, 7 in the middle, and 8, 9, 10 at the end of it. So, in theory, Remake could be in 3 parts. He says there will be completely new original episodes. The first one will be a new episode that we work on that covers the story behind FF7, the First Soldier, that was announced at the same time. The events of First Soldier will take place around 30 years before Ever Crisis' main story and go into the founding of Soldier. So it goes without saying that you will see some of the legendary heroes in their younger days, as well as younger versions of future Shinra executives and other characters who will appear in the Final Fantasy VII Remake sequels. I like that idea. It's like, when I first talked about First Soldier, I said I like the idea of going back to the formation of Soldier and seeing some people in their younger days and how you get to Final Fantasy VII. I just don't like the game itself of First Soldier. So if they're covering that story part in Ever Crisis, well, hey, I'm just fine with that. He goes on to say the game has a story mode where you will follow Cloud and their gang on their journeys, but also features special dungeons and battles that will go outside the timeline delineated by the various compilation titles. These will allow players to enjoy taking on the mightiest enemies from the series using their Dream Party in ways that the story battles do not follow. He says the music is all based on the originals, but it has been newly arranged for Ever Crisis. Fine with that. We've also seen that people want to be able to play the various different series titles on current console hardwares. So the concept behind Ever Crisis is not intended to be a replacement for that, but a convenient and casual way to touch on these games. And lastly, he said, regarding all the recent news on Final Fantasy VII, quote, it seems like I'll be having a busy time for the foreseeable future. Not just this year, but next year and the year after that, and probably the year after that, and the year after that. When they started down this remake road all those years ago, when it was a PS3 tech demo, I think they knew what they were getting into. Perhaps maybe they as well don't necessarily know or like the direction of the Final Fantasy series. Let's go back to... Maybe not, it's not my personal favorite Final Fantasy game, but I think it'd be hard to argue against it being 7 being the most popular, having the broadest appeal to the most amount of people. So it was an obvious choice to basically invent a new franchise within a franchise. This brand is huge. It's so popular, and it's only getting bigger and better. Outside of a few story flaws, Remake was exceptional in most of every single way, and we get a new version on PS5 here soon. So, like I said before, I'm very excited about Ever Crisis. I know we give mobile titles kind of a bad rap, and there are redeemable features to these games. And if this is done correctly, and on occasions show it to be done correctly, if they don't charge an arm and a leg, like I said, for that base price point, we'll have to wait and see how that goes. And things are released in the future for free. If you want to spend money on it, then so be it. But you don't have to, maybe outside the base game purchase. So we'll have to wait and see. We're getting lots of information on that. Of course, Ever Crisis is not coming till next year. I will keep you up to date on all the information that I hear about that in the future, but I think we got some things to be excited about. So I'm trying to keep my voice a little more, not monotone, but toned down. I feel like I have a tendency to kind of yell a little bit too much, like a little too loud. Maybe it's completely in my head. My voice is also a touch tired. One of my side gigs, I do sports commentary for my local, not local, but my alma mater university. And so it's been a bit busy here lately, all these sports crammed into one season. And I got 4 more games the next 2 days. So I was never going to skip the podcast, but it's a little tired. So I'm maybe go get some honey after this and rest the old vocal cords up. But I want to tell you guys about a sale or two actually going on right meow. And you can head over, fire up your Nintendo Switch, and there is a Square Enix eShop sale going on right now. It is going on, I think it lasts until March the 24th. Yeah, so today's the 18th. You got a few more days to check this out. Some of the highlights of it, the collection of Mana is down to $20, and Final Fantasy VII, $8, 8 Remastered, $10, 9, $10.50, 10/10/2 is $25, 12 the Zodiac Age is $25, 15 Pocket Edition down to $15. They've got I Am Setsuna and Lost Fear. Those decent games on sale for 20. The Romancing Saga 2, 12.50. Romancing Saga 3, 14.50. Saga Scarlet Grace Ambitions 15. Starshin First Departure R is down to 10.50. I may need to go ahead and pick that one up. Trials of Mana is down to 30, and World of Final Fantasy Maxima down to 20. Quick word on Trials of Mana: if you have a choice, and I detailed this before, if you have a PS4 and you have a Switch, get the PS4 version. I played both versions. Well, I guess both demos for it. And it was a much better running game on PS4. I guess that's probably not surprising to most people. But yeah, I definitely noticed a huge difference in those two. Also, the Dragon Quest games are on sale. The first one's $3.50. The second one, a very odd priced $4.54, and part 3 is $8.74. And I want to say something. I'm applauding their effort with these Dragon Quest games. I've been wanting to pick them up for a while. I actually played part 1 on my phone, and while it was just fine, it was very enjoyable. It's still kind of weird to play with that on-screen controller. So I've actually never played part 2 or part 3. Growing up, it skipped from 1 to 4. I never even saw 2 and 3. Had a random chance to pick one up a long time ago, the original NES cartridge, and passed on it because of the price. The physical edition of these games is pretty expensive. I've never seen it in person for sale. I could get it online, of course, but for the Switch, being on the go, and a DLC, not DLC, but a digital version for less than $5. I've been playing part 2, just kind of here and there. I'm really enjoying it. It's obviously a mobile version of it, but it's done very well. The music is exceptional. The graphics are really well done. I mean, the old one was almost unplayable in terms of having, you're pressing a button to open doors and go up and down stairs. And I mean, we're talking about original Nintendo games, so they weren't the best to look at in the first place, but I'm having a ton of fun. It is vintage Dragon Quest at its best, and I'll probably go ahead and pick up part 3 as well since it's on sale. And I'm enjoying this one so much. So head over there on the eShop if you want to get to that sale before the 24th. There's also I think it's called the Mega March sale on the PSN store going on right now. I'd assume that's going through the end of the month. But not as many JRPG titles on there. There were a few. I kind of just quickly skimmed through that last night. Didn't see anything I really wanted to pick up, so kind of held off on that. But if you're interested, you just know that there is that sale going on at the moment. In other non-sale related news, fans of Octopath Traveler, speaking of Switch games, this game is coming to Xbox One. Kind of a surprise announcement. Microsoft announced their March 2021 Xbox Game Pass announcements, and during that, they confirmed that the port of the game is coming. They noted that on March the 25th, both console and PC subscribers would have access to the game. So there you go. You can now get it on, of course, the original is on the Switch. You can pick it up on PC, Xbox One, and it's even on Stadia, or Stadia, how do you say that word? No price point on it, at least not that I could find, so you have to check your when that comes out, what it's going to be listed for. It's another game I've always wanted to pick up and just keep missing, and I've heard nothing but great things about it. I enjoyed the demo. My question, obviously, is, and I posted this on social media, is how is this game not on PlayStation? Like somebody commented that maybe Xbox had paid some sort of thing for it, but of course it was already on the Switch, and it's on Google Stadia platform. The only one it's not on is Sony, and to me that's just baffling. that Square Enix would make that choice. If you want to keep it exclusive to something like the Switch, I can at least understand that, or exclusive to Xbox, whatever. But if you're going to have it on everything else, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to not be on PlayStation as well. Maybe it eventually will, but yeah, just kind of one of those head scratching moments. A little bit odd. During that Xbox Game Pass announcement, it was noted that Nier Automata is coming. So seems like every month, every other month, Game Pass is getting a great JRPG experience in some way, shape, or form. And that's March 18th. So it is available right now. Fire up your old Xbox and you can check that out. It was also noted that this is the Become as Gods edition of the game that's on Game Pass, as opposed to the Year of the Yorha edition. That one featured some various improvements, including borderless video setting, fidelity effects, HDR, and 4K user interface textures. So I got the Yorha edition for PS4. I didn't notice anything, but I'm guessing this is more of when you're playing on PC and you're trying to go, crazy high settings that you can do on that. Maybe it ran into some issues. Well, you don't have to worry about that if you are playing the what I thought was an incredible Nier Automata experience. Here's our quick hit segment of the week. You've got a couple trailers that you can go check out on our YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe if you have not already. You can see the newest Magnum Lord trailer. I know I told you that we probably wouldn't have any more of these. Well, I guess this is probably the final one, as it is the 7th character trailer, and it features the protagonist, Killer Zark. I guess that's how you say that. That is either the male or the female red-headed, crazy-looking character. The game comes out today for PS4 and Switch in Japan, and yet still no word on any sort of Western localization, at least not yet. 2 trailers you can check out for the Caligula Effect 2 of their music trailer series. The first one is by the Abagato musician Doctor, who is composed by New Euro. There's also, I guess this is how they say their name, the musician #QP. That's where we are. It's 2021, and we have people whose actual name is a hashtag, and they are composed by Karaoke Bear. Yeah, this game has crazy names, and I'm just getting used to it. So yeah, you can check out both of those trailers over on our YouTube channel. I would very much appreciate it if you would go and do that at your earliest convenience. I'm uploading it right now. It's probably going to be this afternoon before you can really check that out. And they just had it this morning, actually, the Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis live stream. It was over an hour long and featured a ton of information. So I kind of cut out some of the before and after Dead Space, and I'm uploading that right now. So what was really interesting, and this was obviously a Japanese live stream, but they, for the stream itself, there was audio dub in English for it. So kudos to Sega for doing that. They are doing, let's see, in the live stream, there's new information on enemies, exploration sections, character creation, player and equipment, operation results, actions, graphics, quests, map. There was tons of stuff, but they've got into the closed beta test that's coming up. Let's see when that's supposed to be. Bunch of information I gotta okay, no test dates were announced yet for the global closed beta test. Japan will have one going on starting tomorrow, March 19th, until the 21st. So, but they did announce that a global closed beta test is coming at some point. Game looks fantastic, and again, I'm so really glad that they did that. They didn't have to do that, but very cool stuff. Game looks very promising. One of these decades, it'll actually come to a PlayStation in the West system. But yeah, I got a lot of things to be excited for. I'm guessing if this closed beta goes very well, then we may start to see some release date announcements. Maybe summer, in the fall, something like that time frame. If I had to guess, um, if you are a PC player for Devil May Cry 5, I came across a very interesting story, and you can check out a video of it if you go over onto our social media channels. And I say that because this person modded it to where you could play Devil May Cry 5 as Pirate and Mithra from Xenoblade Chronicles 2. One of my favorite games of this generation, by far my favorite Switch game. Check out the video. It's insane. Devil May Cry is an insane over-the-top action game anyway, and to see two of my favorite heroines going at it in super, super fast motion. Obviously Xenoblade, they're a little more drawn out. Attacks don't go super fast, but to see them moving at lightning speed, and the mod is fantastic. They really captured their character design quite well. Still had a kind of a Devil May Cry shine to it, so to speak, but very, very cool. The only thing it doesn't have is voices, so you'll still hear Nero as speaking. The gameplay video that went along with it doesn't have any spoilers. It's just an early in-game segment, but yeah, I just thought that was pretty cool to to kind of see that going on. Near Reincarnation, the mobile title, is going to have a Nier Replicant crossover collaboration event. It will begin on March the 31st and probably head up until Replicant's release. You can get the 3 characters of Nier, Khan, or Emil as a part of that. I don't think we still have a date for when that's supposed to actually come to the West. We mentioned that it passed over 10 million downloads, so that is a big number. Yeah, just the global release is planned in the near future. Don't know if it'll make it in the West before Replicant does, which comes out on April the 23rd. Certainly, you can check out that collaboration trailer over on our YouTube channel. As with all the stories we talk about, I shared this on our both our Facebook and our Twitter channels. You can give us a like and follow us there to get all the stories that we talk about on a week-to-week basis. One was about Rune Factory 5. It shares some details about its battle system and a few of the new townfolk that you'll run into. First, they talk about the weapons. They say from swords to axes, staffs, and more, there are 8 weapon types with unique characteristics in Rune Factory 5. By continuously using the same weapon type, you can improve your skills, and there are step attacks, charge attacks, and more. So there's the one-handed and two-handed swords. You can do dual swords, spear, axe, hammer, or you can use your fists, as well as a staff. There are rune abilities. These are special attacks and recovery abilities that cost RP, or rune points. You can switch between your rune abilities at any time, allowing you to expand your battle style to match the enemy's strengths and weaknesses. There is the Seed Circle. This is an item that members of Seed can use to restrain and bound a monster or connect/capture them to temporarily make them your ally. And of course, you can go on adventures with friends by taking the townspeople and monsters you befriended out on your journey. You can fight alongside them in battle. And just like the protagonist, they can level up through continuous fights. The new characters are Randolph, who is an old man and honest baker. Well, I've never met an unhonest baker, but I guess it goes along with it. You've got Yuki, his wife, Heinz, I guess Heinz, just like the ketchup. He's a man with an ever so innocent look on his face. Then there's old Doug. He's a dwarven blacksmith who doesn't look like a dwarf at all. He looks quite large. And there is this guy called Palmo, and he is a famous architect. I put all these new images that went along with this information into a slideshow. You can head over to YouTube and check that out. We got news that we talked about this briefly many months ago. The action RPG Dragon Quest: The Adventures of Dai, A Hero's Bonds will release for iOS and Android in the West. Publisher Dina announced pre-registration is available now on Android via Google Play. This game was first announced back in May 2020 for Japanese release. It's supposed to come out sometime in 2021 in Japan. I would guess we'll get it shortly thereafter. These closed, they will host an Android closed beta on April the 7th until the 15th. You can register for that now up until April 4th. It looks, it's a mobile game, okay? So you know what you're getting with these ones. There was a trailer that went along with it. Very much looks like old Dragon Quest game. It looks like old, not Dragon Ball Z or anything else. It looks like the original Dragon Ball cartoon, I feel like, and I think that's pretty cool. But yeah, I think a lot of people, when I shared this on YouTube, they're kind of like, mobile game. And it's hard enough to play games on mobile, let alone action games, but we'll just have to see how that works out. There was also a launch trailer for the Japanese-inspired RPG sequel, Light Fairy Tale Episode 2. Part 1 came out a while ago. Originally came back out in 2018 and 19, followed by a PlayStation 4 release in November of 2019. Part 2 has a release date in Q1 2021, which is, it's almost done, so maybe it's coming out here pretty soon. They announced that Part 2 is complete and will launch first for PC and Mac and Linux in about 3 to 5 weeks, followed by PlayStation 4 and Xbox One a few weeks later. It will have English, French, and Japanese language options. It's a turn-based JRPG entitled game. You can check that trailer out if you were a fan of the first one. Each episode is a standalone game, approximately 2 to 3 hours long for the first playthrough. Double it for full completion, all achievements. And sequel, they say, although optional, you can import your final save from the previous episode to bring back your stats, items, and more. Why in the world would you not want to do that? You put in the time and effort, you're going to want to keep all those things. The official website for Final Fantasy XIV patch 5.5, titled Death Unto Dawn, is available, and it has information about the upcoming features. It is a confirmation of the new Unreal trial, more updates to the, and I hope I get these names even close to right, to the Ishgarden Restoration storyline, new minions, mounts, and emotes. However, this is strictly information about the first part of the upcoming patch. Previously, Square Enix announced that this patch will be split into 2 parts. The first part is scheduled to release in April 2021. So if you're looking forward to that, you got a little bit more time to wait, not too much longer. Coming up on March the 21st, Sony Interactive Entertainment Japan Asia will host the Play, which is a talk show that makes you want to play. Interesting idea. The program will feature information about Resident Evil Village and Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate. Integrate will include Square Enix producer Yoshinori Kitase, as well as other people not related to Square Enix. So not sure what exactly that's going to be, but we may be able to see it a little more in action. I will let you know once I kind of see that and know if it's worth watching or not, or if it's just kind of a silly little gimmick. One last thing to pass along, and this one just came across the wire a few minutes ago, right before I was getting ready to go on, and that is Gamescom 2021, it's happening this year. Opening night live will be on August the 24th, and they're saying this is going to be a hybrid event. They say, like previous years, it will be filled with video game announcements, news, and surprises. The exhibition itself will go on from the 25th until the 29th as a hybrid event with on-site and digital elements. There's going to be an entertainment area with a reduced amount of on-site visitors focused on testing new games live on site. That's cool. It's good news to hear of things, in person with other human beings. What a crazy idea. The pre-virus world slowly getting back. Obviously, it's going to be in limited fashion. I'm sure there will still be distance involved. Only a few people will be able to get in there, but it's still pretty cool. There's going to be an event arena for esport type of things, a business arena, and a business-to-business platform. Gamescom always has a few announcements come out of it. Not many JRPG stuff, but we do get stuff like Tales of Arise was there for a minute. So, between this and Tokyo Game Show, hopefully there's a Tokyo Game Show. Obviously there'll be a digital one, probably either way, but you're looking a little bit further on in the year. Things are getting better kind of each and every day. Here's the vaccines getting better. So hopefully we're getting back towards normal and we can start having some of these big things like we used to have. But yeah, I just thought that was cool that they announced it's happening. Get people something to look forward to. And August the 24th is opening night live with old Jeff Knightley. He's back. You can't get rid of him so easily. So that's going to do it for episode 157. It's a fun little show that we did for you guys. I enjoy it each and every week. If you like what you hear, head over to Patreon, search JRPG Report. I would greatly appreciate your support. It gets me always fired up to do not only this weekly podcast series, but also all of our trailers that I share on the YouTube channel, as well as originals that I put together for you guys, including video versions of this podcast, and with all the images and trailers that we talk about all in one little place, so you can check it out as you listen to me ramble on. That's going to do it. Until next week, guys, get back out there and level up.